silent for a while.
Okay. So we're hello. Do you want to do? It's so technical. Yelling hello
What is
into
this
the
called?
microphone. This is a microphone.
Well,
This?
what's in it?
That's a box.
Cool.
What do you say? What's in the microphone?
Yeah.
What's in there? But like, what's in there though?
Yeah, there's a little gnome in there who hears what you're saying and then
Mimics
writes,
you, repeats
writes
it.
data
Yeah.
that sends it to the
That's
computer.
a really good impression of you.
Yeah. He's hearing it, and then in a split second,
Yeah.
But like,
Doing
if
an
they've got
impression.
the technology to record the gnome, why not just cut out the middleman?
it's magic. There's no technology.
Right.
It's
And
all
how to
magic.
get down the line.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to. We're getting really good at preamble
Oh,
with this sort of
yeah.
thing. Welcome to Film Franchise Fortnights on the Cop Popture podcast. You are joined today by myself, AJ, and as usual,
Richard.
and today we have a very special guest. It's Annabel Keane. How you going, Annabel?
Thank you. Cheers. Happy to
Don't
be
clap
here.
over the.
I'm just going to clap every time she talks.
Peek, 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 peek.
For those of you who are unaware of Annabel's existence, where have you been? She's world famous.
Yeah, definitely world famous. Yeah. Everyone knows me.
Annabel hosts a really cool radio show that I often fall asleep listening to. Not out of boredom, out of relaxation.
Yeah, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. It's like, I mean, I think if I told other people about that, they'd go, oh, don't go to his house.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
It's called Blue Mondays and it's on RDU, I assume, every Monday.
Monday, yep, every
Yeah.
Monday, 6 to 8.
There you go. So we'll talk more about that a little bit later. But today, right now, we're here to talk about Happy Feet because this is a podcast where we watch and review and talk about a different film franchise every fortnight. And this fortnight was Happy Feet. Thank you. Is it clapping for me or Happy Feet?
What? Like, clappy feet.
What?
Were you clapping with your feet just there?
Yeah, man.
That was
Yeah,
amazing.
you weren't looking. It was, yeah.
The Happy Feet franchise currently consists of only two films, Happy Feet and Happy Feet 2. Oh, sorry, Happy Feet 2.
Don't encourage him.
Sorry.
Happy Feet 1 came out in 2006 and was directed by George Miller. Happy Feet 2 came out in 2011 and was also directed by George Miller. Annabelle, do you know who George Miller is?
No, not personally.
Do you know what else he's directed?
No.
He directed all 4 Mad Max films
What?
and the sequel to Babe. But not the
And-
first Babe.
Lorenzo's Oil.
And Lorenzo's Oil.
I have not seen Lorenzo's Oil. Okay, cool.
Finish on
Wait,
Lorenzo's
did he
Oil.
do, like, the most recent
Yeah, he
Mad
did
Max?
Hero.
Yep, he did all
What?
4 of them. He's
Oh, he's
currently
a great
72,
director.
71.
What?
Yeah,
What?
Yeah.
he's an old man.
And he did... Wow.
He did Happy Feet. For some reason, he stopped doing Mad Max films somewhere around the end of the 80s and then started doing kids' films.
Yeah.
Mellowed
Lorenzo's
out.
Oil.
Yeah, and then came back to Mad Max Fury Road
Cool.
a few years
With a
later.
vengeance.
Very
Yeah, who follows up Happy Feet 2 with Mad Max Fury Road? You know?
George Miller.
George Miller. We're going to be talking a lot about George Miller on this
And
podcast.
Okay,
the
cool.
guy that voiced who's in both.
Who's in both?
There was, I asked you.
Richard someone.
Yeah.
I don't know if he is in.
You said he was.
No, I said he wasn't.
Why would you point that out?
I didn't. You pointed it out, and I,
I could
looked
list
it up,
all the
and I
people that
wasn't
aren't in
sure.
it. Hold on, give me a
Alright,
second.
Happy Feet doesn't star.
Instead, I'm going to talk about the people who are in it. So it's an animated franchise, and it stars the amazing voice talent of Elijah Wood, Hugh Jackman, Nicole Kidman, Hugo Weaving, Hank Azaria, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Sofia Vergara, Common, Pink, Brittany Murphy, Robin Williams, and Steve Irwin, making it that it has containing 3 celebrities who
Who've
died
died.
prematurely.
Did you say Robin Williams twice?
No, but he does
And
play 2 characters. He
also-
plays
He's
3
three
characters.
because of the voice. Of,
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, interestingly,
fan.
Prince wrote a song for it.
Well, there you go.
Crazy,
We
didn't
might.
he?
This might. Is there a Happy Feet curse?
We can explore that later. on.
Okay. Richard, do you want to tell us what these movies? What the hell are these movies?
All
about?
right. So, Happy Feet is an Australian film. An Australian film where 2 parents, Nicole Kidman and Logan's Hugh Logan Jackman, accidentally give their child a form of mild retardation before he's born. As the child, Mumble, grows up, he learns that he is different to everyone else and that he likes to dance where everyone else sings. Also, he attempts to court Brittany Murphy.
Okay.
And Happy Feet 2, Mumble is all grown up and has a son of his own, Eric, who was also retarded?
I don't know. Different.
He's just difficult.
Yeah. Eric doesn't want to dance. Ugh. A traveller Sven from the north gives Eric false hope that he could be able to fly one day. Also, like, everyone gets trapped and Mumble and Eric have to save them. Oh, and the sequel adds Brad Pitt and Matt Damon as a pair of friends who go through an existential crisis.
Yeah. There's one fact you've kind of omitted from
Yeah,
this.
something
and
quite major.
They're penguins.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, of course. They're not all penguins. Most of the
And
characters are
Brad
penguins.
Pitt and Matt Damon.
Krill.
Yeah.
Bill the Krill and Will the Krill.
God, that's a good storyline.
So, before I reveal the Rotten Tomatoes scores of the films,
Which I can clearly read.
well, maybe you
Don't
shouldn't.
look.
Maybe you should play by, like, poker rules, and that you just don't read the other person's cards.
That's not how you play poker.
I played poker twice.
Well, and everyone just has their cards out, and you just
Yeah.
have to not look.
Yeah, yeah.
Or if you
I-
look,
I
you just try
believe-
and make yourself forget.
I believe in an honor system,
Yeah.
especially with notes about the podcast. So, let me ask you guys, Annabelle, which is your favourite? And how much do you like the one that is your favourite? And how much do
Boy.
you not like them, maybe? I don't know.
I think I really enjoyed the sequel. I really did. I think, but that might be because I've seen the first one so many times, and I also had very low expectations for the sequel. And then the Krill storyline
Yeah.
just rocked my world.
So, you're quite the Happy Feet aficionado then?
I think I am. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that like a classic? Did you grow up with it, or is it...
Well, there's a story behind this.
Yeah.
I was on a kids game show when I was like 10 or 11.
Cool.
It was actually it was part of Sticker TV, and it was called the Simon Elliott Show.
Nice.
And I won it, and I won a Happy Feet DVD.
Wow. So that just sort of
That's where
permeated
and
your
I-
life growing up from there.
And I watched it countless times, and I think I also assumed that it was... I think when you're that age, if you watch a movie a lot of times, you assume that that's also a movie everyone else has seen a lot of times, and so...
I think, yeah, it's weird, because Happy Feet it feels like an Australian movie, but it is a world famous movie.
We all love a good
Really?
Aussie film.
Does it feel like an Australian
Well,
movie?
yeah, so Richard just made point then that at the start of a lot of Australian imported DVDs in New Zealand, it'll start with an anti-piracy ad that goes, we all love a good Aussie film. And then you'll see like a DVD burning, and they use Happy Feet quite a lot. They use Happy Feet and Wolf Creek, which are two very opposing movies.
Yeah, it
For
depends
different
on-
audiences.
I think
yeah.
it feels like an Australian film, and just because it has a lot of Australian actors in it.
2? Oh, no, 4.
There's a bunch of them, I think.
Uh,
A lot of
there's
like
Magda, what's her face?
Yeah, Megas, Hugh Jackman, Nicole Kidman,
Yeah.
Hugo Weaving.
But there's even
Oh,
Australian
Hugo
accents
Weaving,
in
yeah.
it as well.
Yeah.
Steve Irwin's in the first one.
Who does...
He plays one of the elephant seals.
It's more of a cameo.
Yeah.
I see.
And
Common?
so
He's Australian.
no, he's not.
I take back what I said before. But what,
And
2?
the what's her name? The little girl penguin in Happy Feet 2 has an Australian accent.
I thought it was British.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
She definitely has a
I
British
reckon-
accent, yeah.
All right.
Do you reckon it's someone trying to do an Australian accent really badly?
Maybe, or the
Okay.
opposite, an Australian trying to do a British accent.
Oh.
Richard, sorry, so you would say, Annabelle, you would say that the first one's your favourite?
No, I'm saying the second one.
Oh, you
I
are?
really
Okay.
enjoyed it, yeah.
Cool.
It has its flaws, but they both do.
Well, see,
Richard.
I'm going to disagree with Annabelle and say that Happy Feet 2 doesn't have its flaws, and that it's a perfect movie.
Yeah.
And it's my favourite.
Yeah, we both are favourites, but
yeah.
I'm acknowledging that it is flawed.
Yeah, I saw the first Happy Feet in cinemas when it came out in 2006. I remember we were going to the movies with my friends from high school, and one of my friends real liked kids movies, so there was two movies playing at the same time, and then he convinced us all to go see Happy Feet. That other movie, The Prestige. And
Well,
so I
aren't
didn't
you
see
glad?
The Prestige for years.
Aren't you
because
glad
of
that Happy Feet was the one you went to?
Well, I mean, it would have been cool to see The Prestige in cinemas and
But
to go and
everyone's
not
seen
know
the
the twist.
Yeah.
You're different.
And then so it was years later that I saw it and I already knew all the twists and stuff.
Right.
So
That's
that was
disappointing.
annoying. Both films starring Hugh Jackman though. He had
That's
a
true.
busy year. And then so that was the only time I'd seen it until we watched it for this podcast. And if you'd asked me 2 weeks ago about the Happy Feet franchise, I would have said, yeah, the first one's great. Second one's supposed to be pretty shit though. And now I'd probably say the opposite. Is that like I'd almost go so far as to say I don't really like the first one, but the second one is amazing.
I think that they're both very strange if you really think about it while you're watching them. but the first one seems weirder. And
Yes.
the second one, you accept the weirdness.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I was invited to the party of the first one.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, it asks you to accept a lot of stuff that are just there, and I didn't understand a lot of it. And again, like, I probably agree with you guys. I'd say I like the sequel more. I quite liked the Sven storyline that is sort of like a false prophet, and it was a cool way to continue a story that I really didn't think could be continued, because the first one's very clear in what it is. It's this person's different, but they learn to accept him because he dances and everyone else sings. And the second one starts, and you're like, are they just going to do the opposite? Like, is it just going to be like...
That's what I thought. When I read the summary for it, I just thought, hold on a second.
Yeah, is it just Eric hates to dance but loves to sing?
Yeah, like in the first one, they all learn how to dance, and the second one, I was like, are they all going to learn how to fly?
Yeah. And there's something cool about that. There's something cool about the idea of limiting what can set you apart, because maybe you can dance instead of sing, but you can't fly, and you need to accept those limitations. Maybe.
Yeah, I like when kids' films have kind of more realistic messages like that. It's like, no, it's not you can achieve anything you set your mind to. It's like, well, some things are actually impossible, but find what you're good at.
Yeah, totally, man. And these movies are also very environmentally themed as well. The first one being about, I guess, how we treat the environment, like animals specifically, and the second one's more of a climate changey.
Yeah, I was wondering, do you reckon that's how they got such big names to do voice acting, because of the environmental messages? Is that it?
I don't know, I didn't look at that.
Well, I'd say like George Miller's pretty well respected.
Yeah. That's
and
true.
a lot of them like getting all the Aussies in, because you'd be able to be like, oh, Hugh, Nicole, do you want to be in my bloody movie, mate?
Yeah, mate, we'll do it.
And then
we'll do it. This is Nicole Kidman's voice.
And then once they're signed on, it's like, oh, you trying to do my movie with
Well,
Nicole?
Robin Williams did that real bad like animated one in like the 90s. That's also Fern Gully.
I love that movie.
That's also very environmentally themed.
Yeah.
So clearly, Robin Williams cared a lot about the environment.
Well, and also, like, if you're Robin Williams, wouldn't you have done this movie? You get to play Ramon.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Lovelace.
Yeah, that's true. He
Ramon?
plays two characters, and both of whom are probably... Robin Williams has my favourite line in the franchise, which was the...
Do you want to just say it now?
I'll just say it. So Mumble decides he's going to go chase the humans down to like ask them why they're sealing all his fish, and he jumps off the cliff into the Antarctic waters. And Robin Williams as Lovelace, who's sort of like a Southern American preacher kind of feel to him. He just goes, "I'm gonna be telling your story, Happy Feet, long after you dead and gone." And that's such a cool line.
Yeah.
Like
You feel it.
Yeah.
deep
You're just
down.
like, Mumble's gonna go save the world.
Well, I think Robin Williams could say anything like that, and I go, wow.
Yeah. That's
true.
the thing. That's what's cool about it, is he really gives his whole, like it all to playing both these characters who sound pretty similar, but I guess one's got an accent, so
Yeah. Well,
you can tell it's Robin Williams for both of them.
Yeah.
But so an interesting theory I want to posit to you two is that line. So Robin Williams narrates the film.
Mm-hmm.
So does this occur? These films take place long after Mumble's dead and gone.
Oh.
And Lovelace is the narrator.
Is telling the story.
I definitely.
Yeah, Mumble's gone, dude. This is the third one's going to end with a pan out to Lovelace telling all these other people.
And he shuts the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then and then Shrek begins.
So for just to clue you guys in, we're all wrong, all three of us, because the first Happy Feet received a 75% Rotten Tomatoes score and a 70% audience score, and the sequel received a 46% critic score and a 61% audience score. So even the audience who liked it more than critics didn't like it as much as the first one.
No, it's the critics who are wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
And also, so Happy. The first one won the Oscar.
Did it?
Yeah, for animated feature.
Oh, okay.
And then but then people so I was reading about that. Happy Feet won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature, even though it uses some motion capture for the dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pixar, from Ratatouille onwards, have had like a little thing in their credits being like a quality assurance guarantee, being like, we animate every single frame of our films.
But what about Wall-E?
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking that.
Wall-E is live action.
Yes, well, so yeah,
Oh, really?
and
Fred Willard plays like the president in those tapes.
Oh, yeah. True. Yeah. Well, that's so obvious, though.
Yeah, but it's obvious in Happy Feet. Both
That
films have
actually,
like
it is a-
live action
Oh,
characters in it.
Well, when you first see people in the first Happy Feet movie,
You
kind
do
of
wonder.
Go, is that?
Is
It looks
that
a bit
real
like
or is it-
Tarkin and Rogue One. I think there is like a filter put over them to make them look a little more animated,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. So, a bit of background for the Happy Feet films. George Miller got the original idea for Happy Feet when he was making Mad Max 2 in 1981, which is when a cameraman who had been to Antarctica told him that Antarctica was just as much of a deserted wasteland as the world of Mad Max.
Is that true?
So, yeah, it is true.
Cool.
Well, according to our old friend Wikipedia,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
true.
That's so funny that he thinks of Antarctica as a deserted wasteland.
Yeah.
And the idea comes up with Happy Feet.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. I was like, you
Like,
think, he's going to do like a snowy Mad Max.
Snowy
Yeah.
Mad Max would be dope.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Mad
Agreed.
Max on ice.
Yeah. So yeah, that's an interesting facet to the Happy Feet development. And here's an even better. I really want to talk about this. Here's an even better little tidbit. The original draft for the first film literally had aliens in it.
What?
So in Happy Feet, they refer to humans as the
Yeah.
aliens. They're like, these aliens abducted me. These aliens.
But they're talking about humans.
They're talking about humans.
Yeah.
They're clearly talking about humans, and even in the second one, they refer to them as aliens. That's just what they call humans.
Yeah, like once they've gone to the shore and
I like that, yeah.
Yeah. No, but the original script had aliens in it who were siphoning the planet's resources, which landed the humans in the same predicament as the penguins. And concept art for this is available.
Really? Oh,
Can you
please
show
put a
us some?
link to
Yeah, I'll try find some. I didn't look for any because I figured this is an auditory medium. Why would-
That's
Yeah,
for
but
us.
we want to react to it and
But
describe it.
me!
Well, good or bad that they ditched the literal aliens.
Okay.
So-
Yeah, because that just completely takes the blame away from humans.
yeah.
This big
Yeah.
environmental message.
Yeah,
And also, like, I like the idea that Happy Feet can actually happen.
right.
Whereas with aliens, it's just too far.
It's your
Penguins
suspension of
probably
disbelief.
dance.
They probably have like social hierarchies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they probably would. Penguins would have social hierarchies.
They probably
Yeah,
would.
if a penguin made weird noises
Yeah.
instead
Yeah.
of chirping, I don't know what they do.
They go.
Okay, if a penguin did something like instead, they'd get rid of it.
Yeah.
And if you dropped the egg and it came out mildly retarded,
Yeah,
You'd
well,
be
'cause
embarrassed.
penguins are
I
quite
dropped
relational,
it.
aren't they? Because like they have like lifelong mates, which not all animals have.
Oh, I don't know if this is a fact, but I've believed it was a fact for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, if gay penguins get together, they'll steal an egg from
Yeah,
a
I've heard that, yeah.
hetero penguin
That's
couple.
that's
Just like
Happy
humans.
Feet 3 right there.
just like
There we
humans.
go. Good,
Yeah,
good.
There was kind of a homosexual storyline in
With the krill.
with
Yeah,
the krill
definitely.
and Happy Feet
Definitely.
2.
I've written
I don't know
down-
if it's definite. I think it toes the line just enough to not piss off any like major conservative.
Yeah,
Oh,
but then
Bill's-
also like to shut
Bill's
up
gay,
the
definitely.
Yeah.
social justice warriors who's like, I can't enjoy this film because they're all like
Yeah.
cisgendered.
I can't relate to the penguins.
So a bit of background: the krill in Happy Feet 2, played by Matt Damon and Brad Pitt. I don't know if Will is gay, but it heavily implies that Bill is in love with Will.
Yeah, and if Will
It's so
is gay,
sweet.
he's very closeted, maybe
yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit
Yeah.
homophobic because of it, because he's a bit scared. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
got some quotes I've wrote down.
Yeah, well, I
that
mean, like
quite liked.
their whole storyline is about escaping the horde,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
could be seen as heterosexuality.
That's
and
true.
their
The swarm, I think.
the
not
swarm, yeah,
horde.
not the horde. The horde's
Horde's a bit different.
split.
What were your quotes, Annabelle?
I thought I'd written more than I actually have. I've written no hanky panky. Brad Pitt's
Yeah,
Will
Oh,
says
yeah,
that.
yeah.
He goes, no hanky panky.
yeah,
Yeah, because they suggest having kids.
And there's sort of
So
the
good.
moment that their friendship sort of takes a turn is when Will tries to like join a bunch of other seals and predators
So good.
in the ocean, and Bill, in an attempt to save his friend, jumps on his back and hugs him, and then they sort of just stay there awkwardly, and Will's like, I think we should split up.
Yeah, that was the moment. I love, there's a bit, I think when Will first attempts to eat the seal, whatever it is, and he
Yeah.
goes and he says, how's your appetite, Bill? She's a big un. And it's just this tiny little, like, microscopic krill on a seal.
It was great, and like we were saying when we were watching it, Richard, the close-ups of the krill walking through like the ice is real beautiful. Like
Yeah.
the animation on the ice is real intense.
Whereas like the animation of the first one's kind of shitty.
Yeah, it is.
It has its moments.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, when it's more like the conceptual and like.
So these movies are weird. We've sort of touched on this a bit. I said before I felt like I wasn't invited to the party. The whole thing I wrote down here. The whole thing sort of feels like it's based on some kind of classic literature, like think like Winnie the Pooh or something. And I say that because a lot of the first one is pretty plotless. Like until about the halfway mark, it's not really about anything. It's just Mumble walking around Antarctica.
Yeah.
And the characters all have real like Atticus, Memphis, Norma Jean, Lovelace. These names feel like, I know they're all references to different things, but like it feels like I'm missing the reason why they're named after these characters, these like famous literary characters.
I think it's because we're so used to adaptations and sequels coming from books and stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
this
exactly.
is so original.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying as well. I think it speaks to George Miller's directing ability of world building.
Yeah.
Because you watch Mad Max. Have you seen the Mad Max films, Annabelle?
Only the most recent one.
Right, so even that one
Yeah.
probably more than the others does an intense job of world building.
Yeah.
There's a scene I remember in Fury Road where they're driving their big truck through the desert and it's like just a montage and it drives past the swamp in the middle of the night and you see the silhouettes of these people on stilts like walking through the water.
Yeah.
And like they never bring it up, they never go back to them. I think they might reference them, what could be them when they're talking, like later on in the film, but immediately from that image you get, oh, there's a community of people who live on stilts in the swamp.
There's other stuff going on
There's,
in this world.
there's a whole world, and I think that's George Miller's jam, is like, I build worlds.
This is bread and butter.
Yeah, he builds worlds, and he builds worlds without making explicitly clear what these worlds are. And with Mad Max that works, and maybe with Happy Feet that doesn't, because Happy Feet asks a lot less of you being a children's film.
Yeah.
And I do think Happy Feet sort of just takes the human world and shoves it in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Like, because all the characters do seem to be based off people. I would say that Norma Jean and Hugh Jackman,
Memphis.
they're like, my friend was saying, it's like, that's supposed to be Marilyn Monroe and
Or Norma
Elvis,
Jean.
right?
Norma Jean is
Marilyn Monroe's
real
Yeah.
name.
And Memphis is where Elvis is from.
There you go. Well, maybe that's it. Okay, maybe that's it then.
Yeah.
But why Atticus? Atticus is the dad from To Kill a Mockingbird. What has that got to do with... And he's not even a significant character. He's one of the kids.
But he's
Atticus is a cool name.
I mean, is Atticus the real name of some famous rapper
don't know.
or something? I
don't
bet you.
know.
I bet you.
Well, Common played Seymour in the sequel, and I don't think Seymour's a...
You don't know.
You're right, I don't.
Some rappers have crazy first names.
Yeah, Drake's name is Aubrey.
See?
That's cooler than Drake. I'd rather be known by Aubrey than Drake.
I'm Googling Atticus rapper. Do you reckon that's going to be helpful?
I think that'll help. We'll wait in bated breath.
There's someone called Atticus the rapper.
Wait, with...
There, you've proven your point.
With 13 followers on SoundCloud.
Right,
That's
point
him.
proven.
That's him.
There we go.
He's George Miller's son.
So, George Miller has directed 11 films in his life.
Yeah. So let's see if we can name them all.
Okay.
Happy Feet.
Yes.
Happy Feet 2.
Yes.
Mad Max.
Yes.
Mad Max 2.
Yes.
Mad Max 3. Beyond Thunderdome. Mad Max 4. Fury Road.
Yeah.
Lorenzo's Oil.
Yeah.
Witches of Eastwick.
Yeah.
Twilight Zone.
Yes, he directed
He did a segment of
partially.
that.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's one that's like a bunch of numbers. It's like 40,000 or something. 40,000 something. I can't remember. I only sort of glanced at it. And Babe Pig in the City.
Babe Pig in the City.
The sequel, right?
He didn't even direct the first one.
Okay.
So,
Did he have any
Are you impressed with
involvement?
that?
yes, he wrote it.
But
Yeah.
did he have... And he wrote the first one?
He wrote
Yeah,
the
he
first
finished
But
one.
didn't direct it and then
Yeah, and
wrote
then
and
he
directed
wrote
the second
and
one.
directed the second one. Yeah.
Crazy.
Are you impressed with my George Miller knowledge?
I am, dude. Flip, you're getting a candy bar tonight after the podcast.
This is the
Annabelle,
What
it's
do I
not too
have to
late
do?
for you.
Okay, yeah.
No,
So
you can
Got
see,
my
if you
notes.
can name 9 Elijah Wood films.
of those 11 films, 6 of them are sequels. Of those 6, one of them received a negative, review,
Yeah.
and that was Happy Feet
A
2.
negative review.
A single one?
Happy Feet 2 was the only of one of his sequels to have been critically, not even reviled, just like, people were like, it wasn't as good. Like,
Critically,
I know people who have watched Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome might be yelling at me right now because that's sort of seen as the black sheep of the Mad Max family, but I looked it up, 86% on Tomatoes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's
just
a
in
close
comparison,
Yeah.
it wasn't as good. But
So if Happy Feet 2 is his worst sequel, and it's still pretty good, is George
No.
Miller...
it's great.
It's great. Is
What a
George
guy.
Miller the best director of sequels, and why?
Because he's good at it.
But, like, this is a podcast about franchises.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's directed 6 more sequels than he's directed non-sequels, and if you include the first Mad Max and the first Happy Feet, that means 8 of his films are all part of a series.
Yeah.
What does he do that Michael Bay can't do? What does he do that Peter Jackson seems to be failing to do? Like, that was a bad example.
It seems like he just cares.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe it's not about the money for him. Like, he could do another original one, but he's thinking, there's more to tell here.
Yeah. Like, that's something like, what would have driven him to do Happy Feet 2?
I don't know, yeah.
And because
there's no info that I can
I mean,
find
he worked on Mad Max Fury Road for like 20 years.
Yeah. That was filmed. That was conceived when Mel Gibson was still attached.
Yeah.
And then survived almost through his comeback, almost to the end of his comeback. But
yeah.
not
So,
quite.
like, because I remember reading about the like in Mad Max Fury Road, there's the guys on the poles that like that swing from side to side.
Swinging
So
guys,
he was dead set on that. Being practical effect, he'd had the concept for years, and they said it's impossible.
Yeah.
The stunt people said it's impossible, and then while working on Happy Feet 2, he got sent a video of them doing it, of the stunt people doing it, and he cried apparently. I think
That's great. That's
he
awesome.
cried, my dream of the pole swinging people was
Like,
and then he's like,
coming to
right, all right,
fruition.
Do you
Brad
think
Pitt,
it's
now try
do you think
and
it's
hug
something
Matt
about
Damon.
do you think it's something about the world building stuff? Like he has built a world, and so he's exploring that world, but only as much as needs to be told for the story, and not as much as needs to be to reveal the full world.
Yeah, so I think he has a huge picture and then takes a small part of that,
No.
and he doesn't get bogged down with trying to tell the entire story.
No.
Because he was attached to Justice League for a while, like doing a Justice League film,
Yeah.
and then so Batman v Superman is something that kind of failed at world building, I'd say,
Yeah.
because they've got this huge idea with the same way that kind of Marvel does, and whereas Marvel's like, this is a part of it, this is a part of it, but if you look at the whole thing, you'll see it all, whereas they're saying, this is as much of it as we can cram into 3 hours.
Yeah, look at us push all this stuff in here.
Yeah.
Whereas George Miller goes, this exists in my Bible of this world, but I'm not going to talk about it.
You could
because
ask
there's
him
no
about
reason.
any character in any of these films, he'd be able to tell you about them.
Yeah, that's really cool.
He's like J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Except he's not a sellout.
Not yet.
Yeah. Yeah, not yet, just you wait.
Well, he's nearly dead, so probably won't sell out.
Oh.
Yeah. But no, like, how often does George Miller ever think, you know what? People aren't talking about me. I'm going to tweet a fact.
That's a really
that means
good point.
nothing to the
Yeah.
to the enjoyment of the films, but
Yeah.
hey, I'm fine with a black Hermione. Dumbledore's gay.
Yeah. Lovelace was actually a Scorpio.
Yeah. Just quickly, while we're talking about this, I was going to say this for Continue the Franchise, which we'll be doing later, but when asked about Happy Feet 3, Miller, and this is me paraphrasing, he said that if you put a gun to his head and said, come up with Happy Feet 3 or I'll kill you, he would say, just shoot me, because he can't think of one. But he has said he wants to make it better than the first one, because otherwise at his age, what's the point? That's
Good.
awesome.
Good on.
That's such a cool thing to think
Nice,
about. It's like,
nice.
I'm 71 years old. Like, I'm
Can
not
you
going
do an
to...
Australian accent?
I'm 71 years old. I'm not going to make Happy Feet 3 if I can't do the best Happy Feet 3 I can do. Is that good?
I thought that was good. It was subtle.
It was-
It wasn't a
understated.
71-year-old man Australian.
Oh, yeah,
accent.
no. Yeah,
It
it
was
was
like
you
a-
if
his
you've
voice
lived
is
in
more
Australia
here.
for...
It was a Year the Boys kind of
His
accent.
voice is more up here.
I haven't heard him speak.
Oh, he's got more of
He's
an
actually-
nasally Australian
Yeah, he's
accent.
got more than
yeah.
accents.
Okay.
He's actually very interesting to talk to.
Okay.
That's the,
You've
I lost
talked to
it.
him?
I lost it.
Let's play a game.
Okay.
This game's called Who's Gonna Die Next?
What?
So,
Oh, no.
Steve Irwin, Robin Williams, Brittany Murphy, all died
Also,
tragic deaths.
so I said there's Prince.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Prince dead.
No, he's
and
not.
also, the film opens with Brittany Murphy singing a
Yeah,
Prince
but
song.
he didn't write that song.
I'm gonna give that
No,
half a
the
point.
credits song he wrote for Happy Feet.
I'm gonna give that half a
Oh,
point.
did he?
Yeah, because
Oh, wow.
they want Prince is notorious with like not giving people rights to his things. Like his songs aren't even on YouTube.
Yeah.
And he
As a radio presenter right
Well,
now,
I
you're
just
going,
like,
of course.
it was about a week ago I told someone, I think I was at a party, I was like, oh, play Kiss by Prince, and they said, I can't find it. I thought, you just don't want to play it. Why wouldn't it be online?
That's great.
Don't
he's
sass
real.
me.
I think he's on Tidal
Right.
Oh.
on the
Alright.
Kanye West one.
Right.
But they said, can we use Kiss? We want Brittany Murphy to sing it, and he said, oh, fuck off. And they said, well, here's the script, and he said, I love it. I'll write a song for it.
Wow.
And so the song of the credits was written specifically for Happy Feet.
Okay.
And also, it features Somebody to Love in a famous scene, which George Michael famously sang.
And
as well.
Under Pressure, David Bowie.
Yeah,
Freddie Mercury.
in the sequel.
Okay, when they played Under Pressure,
I was hoping it was Ice Ice Baby.
why was it not that?
Why was it not Ice Ice Baby?
I thought they'd do a
hinting
mashup
at
or
it?
something.
Yeah.
Cool.
What a
So,
great scene, though.
so let's play a morbid game called Who's Gonna Die Next. So the rule is it can't be from old age because none of the three major deaths of the Happy Feet series of the Happy Feet curse died of old age. Brittany Murphy died of pneumonia. Robin Williams committed suicide, and Steve Irwin was shot by a stingray.
Shot by... Is that what you wrote down?
No, I didn't
Shot
write any
by
of
a
this down.
song.
Died with animals in
So,
his heart.
Elijah Wood, Hugh Jackman, Nicole Kidman, Hugo Weaving, Hank Azaria, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Sofia Vergara, Common, Pink. That's it. Who's going to die? And how?
No, see, I reckon it's going to be someone like the elephant seal,
Right, Richard. I'm going to look up his name.
Dreyfus.
I think Hugh Jackman.
Nah, fuck off.
It would just be so inconvenient.
Yeah.
Well, no, Logan's is last.
No. I think... Oh, no, Pink, totally, because she does all that stuff
I like how you
twirling
put your
around.
hand up, even though like.
Oh, me. Because she does all the twirly stuff on the high up in her
Yeah,
concerts. She's going to fall off. And
Yeah, she's gonna
it's going to
hurt
be
herself.
tragic.
That is Richard Carter played Brian the Beachmaster.
You think that guy is going to die next?
That's who Richard thinks is going to die.
Why?
Yeah, I could
Is
see
it
it.
because...
Look at him.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He's
He
doing
looks
him.
like an elephant seal. Look up, Google Richard Carter.
Um,
They've definitely based the animation off his face.
I think.
Sorry,
like,
Richard.
I am not.
Brad Pitt is too much plot armor.
Yeah.
Too much
So is Matt
what?
Damon.
Plot armor.
I'll play it.
It doesn't
Okay,
really
so
apply to real
okay,
life,
I would
but
like if Hank Azaria died.
Yeah,
That would be awful.
that would be because he's in The Simpsons.
Yeah, I feel like he's
So-
the kind of guy that's going to live to be 120.
He better.
Yeah.
He just looks like it.
So does that
Yeah,
mean
he still looks really good
our
for his
most likely, just by the laws of like I don't know Murphy's law, Murphy
Yeah.
is Elijah Wood. He's probably going to go next
Why?
because he has the least stake in the zeitgeist than any of them.
But he's like.
It would mean the. I was
We
going to say it'd
would
mean
keep-
the least,
if
but
he
it would
died,
it would affect pop culture the least.
He's so young though. It'd be so sad.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Brittany Murphy was young. She wasn't even 30, I don't think, when she did.
Yeah.
And
Jeff-
Elijah Wood, I guess, he wasn't even like a big child actor, was he? Was he?
No.
So he
really.
was a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah,
He
did a
did
little
some-
bit.
He's considered a child actor.
Yeah, well that would fit the bill.
Yeah. He's,
Yeah.
like he's been so well adjusted and lovely, and now he just goes crazy.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
days.
It's about time.
Hugo Weaving's getting on.
Yeah, but they can't die of old
Can't be
age,
of old
yeah.
age. That
Yeah,
doesn't
but
count.
then when you're old, you know, you're more
Right,
likely
susceptible.
to other
Do you
things.
think? No,
Like-
it's getting too
Does
dark.
it get really philosophical? Then are you dying
Do you think?
of
Do you
old
think
age?
Hugo Weaving is happy? Like,
His
sweet.
feet
Let's move along. We talk about
Right, I had
titles.
something just the recasting. I read this so that apparently Pink was cast as Gloria in the sequel before Brittany Murphy died.
Oh my gosh!
Whoa.
I don't know if that's true.
Inside
Well,
joke.
Wikipedia
she'd
doesn't
been-
say. Inside joke. We're gonna give her pneumonia. Pink was like, we're gonna give Brittany Murphy pneumonia.
I just really want this
but,
role.
like maybe Brittany Murphy walked
Oh,
before
no.
she died.
No.
It's so her voice
That's why
sounds
she
older,
died.
right?
The Brittany.
Oh, but then they didn't do that with Elijah
Yeah.
Wood.
We talk about titles a lot on this podcast, mainly because I'm obsessed with them. And the only real point of interest in Happy Feet and Happy Feet 2, which otherwise I wouldn't have even brought up the titles, is that 2 is spelt
TWI.
TWO, not the number 2. Why? What does that mean?
Why not?
If
Discuss.
if the third one was called Happy Feet 3 and it was the number 3, how would you feel? Or if it was Roman numerals, how would you feel?
I
don't know.
it would have been cool if it was called Happy Feet Junior.
Right.
And
that's
then the
good.
third one
Son
called-
of Happy Feet.
Yeah, and then the third one was called like Happy Feet 3, like the third.
Yeah, I was thinking happier feet, and then
Happier
and then
feet.
happiest feet.
Yeah. And then Happy Feet 4.
Happy hands.
Yeah.
happy flippers.
Happy 2 feet.
Happy Feet's a good title. I like that it's not the main character's name. It's just what people call them.
People think that his name's Happy Feet though.
Yeah, yeah.
Why is he called Mumble?
I don't know.
I asked this to someone. They said, "Oh, because he mumbles." I'm like,
But he
"No, he
doesn't.
doesn't."
He doesn't.
Maybe because
I mean, oh yeah, yeah.
maybe
he
because he's a
does.
soft character. He's a softly
Mumble.
spoken character.
It suits
Yeah,
him.
he's a sweetheart.
Yeah. It's weird that it's Happy Feet TWI.
The only other film I can think of that shares this is The Ring. The Ring 2 is TWO.
Oh, really?
But even that, it's got an O in it, which is a ring. So
Yeah,
maybe that's why.
Happy Feet.
Yeah.
Well, the word 2 looks quite nice under Happy Feet.
And it's also got Lovelace's
jersey
sweater on it. I'm holding up the
Yeah,
DVD.
but you could
We
do that
bought
with the
it
number
on
2.
But we went to the warehouse the other night, and I was just looking in the DVDs and found the special edition of Happy Feet 2 triple play with ultraviolet DVD and Blu-ray for $6, and Happy Feet 1 wasn't even there. It was the only copy of Happy Feet 2 there.
Well,
Cool.
to be fair, I'd rather have Happy Feet 2 in my collection.
Yeah.
It is the better movie.
Yeah, everyone agrees.
It's the best movie.
Happy Feet 2.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on the title there?
I would have
fine.
called it Crappy Feet.
Crappy Feet?
Nah.
Nah.
And then the second one is good.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway.
What? This...
So let's move on to continue the franchise. This is a segment where we try to squeeze more money out of the Happy Feet franchise. We've got a gun at George Miller's head, and we say, come up with Happy Feet 3, and he says, I can't. And we go, fine, I'll do it. Annabel, do you want to kick us off? What's your idea?
Okay, so I had my original idea that I
Yeah.
thought of, a couple of days ago, which isn't another movie, but it's like a way to continue the franchise in a dancing game.
Nice.
Like one of those. There's so many
Like
classic.
Dance Dance Revolution.
Yeah, like Dance Dance Revolution, but
Yeah.
all the characters are penguins, and it's all those songs, and it's kind of
Is
based
it
on
like
tap dancing,
is it
maybe.
a console game or one you'd find in an arcade?
Oh, both.
Yeah.
Yeah, both. Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
But then one I thought of just before when we were talking about the fact that they tackle environmental issues. I thought a third one could just continue to tackle issues like things that humans do that are terrible, and it could be about like trafficking or something.
Wow, that's a good idea. Like an illegal egg trafficking thing
Yeah,
happening in
yeah.
Antarctica. Like some dirty chin strap penguins are stealing all the
Oh,
emperor's
yeah.
eggs and raising them into
And
slavery.
there's one character.
Prostitution.
Oh no, I was gonna say that there's one character that's like a chef penguin that's
Yeah.
like cooking them up, but that would
Oh,
be
wow.
awful.
We're getting into some.
Do you know what's interesting is that with George Miller attached and the environmental message, Happy Feet 3 could be Leonardo DiCaprio's first animated voice role. He would probably do it.
He would totally do it.
And that would make
I
you
mean,
like
he'd ruin
Leonardo
it.
DiCaprio.
He'd ruin
no,
it.
it would probably make me dislike Happy Feet 3.
Oh, okay. The cancer that is Leonardo DiCaprio.
I was gonna ask you why you don't like him, but I won't. I feel like
We've discussed it a bit.
Which episode did I discuss that?
Listen to
the
Moulin Rouge
yeah,
episode.
the Moulin Rouge one.
okay.
Because we talk
Is
about
it the whole episode? Just you? saying-
Oh, there's a
All right,
large chunk in
reason
the middle.
1A.
Okay.
Basically, he doesn't seem fun. I don't like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, he takes things too seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we're
Whereas
talking
you
about
look
today
at someone
is
like Jake Gyllenhaal, he
Yeah.
seems like a cool guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have an Oscar, but there's no... Where's his mean?
a similar situation is I believe Billy Bob Thornton doesn't seem fun, but he's a good enough of an actor for me to not care.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, see, whereas Leonardo DiCaprio only once has lost himself in a role for
Yeah.
me, and that was Wolf of Wall Street, because when he... Which is weird, because something like Django Unchained you think would be the more losing himself kind of role, but Wolf of Wall Street, there's a point late in the film where he yells, and he doesn't sound like a 14-year-old boy. And I was like, oh, he changed his yell for once. And then I was like, here come, like The Revenant, I was like, oh, he's going to be gritty in this. And then he's like, grab the pelts!
Aw. Tell him you said that.
Well, I might jump off your idea for Happy Feet 3, Annabelle, because mine's similar. All I've written down here is Happy Feet 3, and it's the word 3. Trump parallel. Because
Trump.
it would be, right?
Trump parallel.
Yeah, there'd be like some penguin
Cool.
who's come up to
Yeah.
like be the new ruler of the penguin.
Wow.
Maybe Hugo Weaving's character's died.
Okay.
There's a new one, and he's promising all these things that appeals to a large amount of the penguins, but is actually more damaging for the
Yeah,
community.
well, Sven could sort
Sven
of
is
fill
sort
in
of
that
Trumpy,
role.
yeah.
Yeah, and he could turn sort of evil. He has that potential. He
That's-
does
yeah.
lie to them a lot.
false prophets in the film.
Yeah, because Mumble's Jesus, then Sven is like Trump. Who's it?
Judas?
Like more? No, he's not Judas. He's more like L. Ron Hubbard
yeah,
of Scientology. Like
Right.
that's sort of I think the parallel. I think they're intentionally making that parallel
Oh,
because Mumble's character is like spitting in the face of what's always been, and the Pharisees or the elder penguins are like, this isn't what we
Yeah.
do here. We sing here.
No, we sing. Yeah.
Now I don't have to read
Up
the
on the
Bible.
cross.
Just watch Happy Feet. Don't read the Bible. It's fine.
Gotcha. Well, I thought that Sven reminded me. I see. I'm not that familiar with Scientology, to be honest, but it reminded me of like The Secret. You know,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
book?
no, absolutely.
Is that what?
That's The Secret's like a version of Scientology that won't hurt anyone.
Oh, okay. It's sort of here
Yeah.
are the crystals and the nuts
Yeah,
ideas,
yeah.
and okay.
There's nothing in there about like converting other people and
Good on.
ruining their lives. I think. I don't know. I haven't read either.
No, yeah.
So maybe it's all fine. No, talking about Sven. So Sven is a character who's actually a puffin.
Puffin?
A puffin. He's played by Hank Azaria in Happy Feet 2. Everyone thinks he's a penguin who can fly, but he's not. He's a puffin who's pretending to be a penguin, which is revealed at the end. And he's sort of, as we're saying, he plays sort of a role of like, I will, if you want it, if you will it, you will get it. Like, that's his mantra.
If I just really wanted to fly,
Yeah.
and so that's why I fly.
Yeah, and of course he influences Mumble's son Eric, who believes everything that he's saying. But he's also painted as like quite a sleazy character. There's one point where Mumble asks Sven to give Gloria, who's Mumble's wife, some fish.
That was so weird.
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
bit.
I could've done without
and
that.
yeah, and he goes, "That's my tongue."
Yeah, he like
sorry.
feeds her fish from his mouth, and they like accidentally touch tongues. So
Ugh.
he's played off, and like they do in the end sort of realize that he's an imposter, but he never really gets his comeuppance. So
Well-
maybe Sven needs to go full Trump. In
Okay,
Happy
well,
Feet 3.
okay. How in the wrong do you think Sven was?
So in the wrong.
Well, because like he saw his own kind being eaten, and like I feel like that would fuck anyone up.
Right.
And
Oh,
so
So you're saying
yeah.
he's damaged.
yeah, I'd
Yeah,
say he's
yeah.
damaged. He's been through a hell of a lot, and then he's trying to take what he's been through and give positive things, like influence people positively. But then it's not until Eric comes along and goes, "I want to fly as well."
Yeah, that is
And
like, oh
that,
shit.
he gets in over his
Well,
head. with the
maybe
whole situation.
maybe he's actually just learning a lesson that's important to the film, which is
Yeah, I don't think he's evil.
no, I don't know.
And I liked that about him is that they could have so easily made that character a villain. No, I definitely could have done without the creepy scene between him and Gloria. But he doesn't really do anything wrong.
Yeah.
He's trying to do the right thing, and he gets in over his head. And then at the end, he comes through anyway.
These movies are very sexual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, something I wrote about the first one. I hated that Norma Jean and Memphis called each other
Mummy
Mama
and Daddy.
and Daddy.
Yeah.
It was.
But
oh,
I mean,
it made me feel
in
yuck.
2006, no one the daddy meme wasn't
No,
around.
it's not a
Yeah,
meme though.
yeah, but it
it's
wasn't a meme. It's a sexual
Daddy's
thing.
still
I know,
thing.
but like now it's like I hear more people joking when they talk about calling your lover daddy.
And there's also
being
just
serious.
weird, sexy penguin dancing.
Yeah, real sexy
Hate
penguin
it.
Yeah, there's
dancing.
lots of sexual song.
And either the first one or the second one, at the start when they're singing their song, one of them goes, "Let's talk about eggs, baby."
Yeah, it's a baby penguin. That
Yeah,
says
yeah.
that.
These little baby penguins singing sexy songs.
Yeah.
Don't know what I'm getting at with this. Just it made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was like shake your tail feather. Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. Richard, continue the franchise for us.
Alright, my one, it's a spin-off.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Will and Bill the Krill.
Best characters in the whole franchise.
Yeah, they're
So,
awesome.
Yeah, basically Bill's struggling with his unrequited love for Will,
Mm-hmm.
who's and Will's still going over everything that happened in Happy Feet 2.
Yeah.
So he's like, he's been through a life-changing experience. He's seen the outside,
Yeah.
and how can you go back to being part of the swarm?
Mm.
I mean, he does at the end, but
Yeah.
and he realizes that there's a place for everything. But I think it's more about finding his own place in the swarm,
Yeah.
and then also
That's cool.
Bill's
Will
totally
and Bill
gay
the
for him.
Krill should have had their own spin-off by now, probably.
And it would just be called Will and Bill.
Yeah.
And tagline, one in a Krillian.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
great.
That was great.
There was some. Oh man, that
What was
was
the other?
Goodbye Krill World.
That was great. That
Yeah.
was goodbye.
I've written
Krill World.
these down. That's how much I like them.
Yeah, after Goodbye Krill World, I turned to AJ. I was like, "They said Krill, right?"
I didn't just accidentally write like the best line of the movie.
Oh, yeah, I can tell the point when the Krill come into the movie in my notes, because then it's just me saying Krill are great. Love
Yeah.
the Krill. Krill, best thing. Yeah. I was like, oh, it keeps going. Yeah, great.
Annabel, do you have any other notes you'd like to share with us before we sort of head towards the tunnel?
Let me see.
What's a happy feet metaphor for ending something? Before the ice caps melt.
Oh.
before we rejoin the swarm.
Before we all die prematurely. Some horrible
I
tragedy.
think I've said everything I kind of need to say. Oh, one thing that really bugged me is that Eric has the little bow tie marking, right?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're going to say.
In the first movie, he gets that marking
Yeah.
when the birds attack him.
Right.
That's how he gets the marking.
That
Something
wasn't
he was
what I
born
thought you were
in.
going to say.
Okay, what were you going to say?
does
I was
He's
going to
born
say...
I'm pretty sure it happens.
I thought he was born
I'm
with
pretty
it.
sure he's born with it.
I don't want to call you out on pod, but...
But
No,
you're
you can
wrong.
call me out. I just that I thought because I remember seeing the first one and thinking that's when he got that marking when the bird
Right.
holds him down.
My continuity kerfuffle that I noticed was that... so for those who don't know what we're talking about, Mumble as a baby emperor penguin is covered in down, like penguin down.
Chick fur.
And then as all the other emperor penguins grow up, they lose their down. Mumble doesn't for some reason, and it sort of looks like he's got a bow tie in his down. And then, but by the end of Happy Feet 1, he actually is starting to lose some of that down as like sort of a nice little visual metaphor for him transcend, turning into an adult. But then in Happy Feet 2, he's got all the down back again.
It just differentiates him, I guess.
And, I mean, he's supposed to look like he's wearing a wee tux, right? Because he's
Yeah.
like a tap dancer.
Yeah.
Penguins look like that anyway.
Yeah.
That's so annoying.
Yeah.
It's like penguins are known to have the tuxedo markings.
Mm.
You don't need to do that more.
Should we also talk about just how quickly Happy Feet ends?
They both do. Yeah, they both end quite
Happy
abruptly.
Feet 2 has a big build up to its ending.
Okay.
Happy Feet 1 is like, I'm going to go to the mainland, I'm here now. I'm here now. The film's ended.
there's a very Dark Knight Rises-esque plot hole of how did Mumble get back to Antarctica.
I think they dropped him off.
Yeah, they did,
Right.
but they do explain it better than they do in the Dark Knight Rises. But
Well, the
it was
Dark Knight
still
Rises, he's Batman.
it was still like I was watching this and like when that scene started, I was like, oh, this is a dream sequence. He's dreaming that he's back home.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought that as well. Even though I'd already seen it.
And it was, and they said that, we thought you died, and he's only gone 3 months. Is that right?
Yeah.
Well,
And
and
so-
so disappeared for 3 months. I think they probably died.
No, but then he also, I think,
I'm going
he
to prove you
says-
wrong.
Because Gloria's become the music teacher, and she
Yeah.
goes, I guess I just never heard the right heart song. And it's only been 3 months. I don't know, it just seems overdramatic. He's the penguin.
There have been
so...
3 months where I haven't seen some of my best friends and
Yeah.
I've not been like, oh, you're still single?
Yeah. Just haven't met the right person in the last 3
You
months.
heard the right heart song.
But then, they get back and he's like, we need to dance everyone so that they know we're sentient. And then they all do it, and then it's
But do you
fine.
think that would have made a difference since the humans are already coming? So yeah, the end of Happy Feet 1, Mumble goes to the rest of the world and brings a bunch of humans to the penguins so they can see that they're depleting their food supply. But they kind of prove that they're sentient, as you say, by doing a colony-wide flock of
Penguin
penguins.
colony.
A herd.
They do a
A
group-wide
murder of penguins.
they do a group-wide tap dance to show the humans that they're sentient. But the humans are already on their way. If I was one of those humans and I just saw a bunch of penguins, I'd be like, oh yeah, we're going to save these. If they were tap dancing, I'd be like, oh, there's a tap dancing penguin.
Let's
That's
put
crazy.
them in zoos.
yeah. If anything, then I ask the opposite.
We can make money from this. Yeah. And they're obviously healthy. I mean, they're tap dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with these penguins. Let's leave them. Let's keep fishing and get on our way.
And then in the second one, they almost save them from being stuck in like a canyon, and then it just starts snowing and they leave. And
Yeah,
they're
that
not
was
like,
really
oh, let's
funny.
just wait for them.
No,
No, but then the
because they
sea's
can't,
fully
'cause
Right.
the ice
frozen
is
over.
up.
Right.
So that's why, because the humans would have known.
But they helicoptered in the first one. Why couldn't they helicopter?
Happy Feet, what are you doing? You're full
damn
of you're full of plot holes.
George Miller, you're the worst sequel director of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Okay, well that probably about does our discussion. Any final comments on Happy Feet, Richard? Annabelle, any final comments on Happy Feet?
It's great, but make sure you watch it with other people that are going to be positive about it.
Right.
Otherwise, you'll be embarrassed that you like it.
Yeah.
That's what happened with me.
Yeah. We don't have a choice with the amount of ones we watch.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Second one's good.
Final
Cool.
comment, yeah.
So thank you for listening. If you want more of this, you can go to our Facebook page, Cult Popture, and our YouTube page, Cult Popture. And don't play me off. We're on Twitter, we're on iTunes, we're on all sorts of things. Annabelle, tell us about Blue Mondays.
Blue Mondays is a radio show I do
Stop
on
clapping.
on RDU, which is a Christchurch-based not-for-profit radio station. And if you're not in Christchurch, you can listen to it on the RDU app or on the website.
It also goes to
Mixcloud.
Mixcloud, yep.
Yep. Blue Mondays, and it's supposed to be indie music, but it's all sort of alternative pop, rock, and hip hop music.
Cool. And you host it. Your co-host has just left as well, hasn't she?
Yes, it has been myself and my friend Kitty for a fair few months, and now it's going to be me and Eli Haynes.
Cool.
Sure, I went to primary school with him.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Small world. Welcome to
Sup,
New Zealand.
Eli.
What's your favourite thing about it?
Doing the show?
Yeah.
I like that people send me music sometimes.
Cool.
They go, hey, like they're trying to impress me with music they've sent
Nice.
me, and they don't realise that I have probably never heard the thing they sent me. I'm like, oh yeah, it's pretty good, and I'll play it. Like, cool. Do more work for me.
I just want to make a quick confession. I don't think I went to primary school with Eli Haynes. I know the name sounds familiar, but I might be getting two people mixed up.
Mm.
He's probably the same age as you.
Yeah. Maybe I did. No, I did. Hey, Eli.
Well,
I've seen you someone called Charlie Haynes.
Maybe you could mention this on Blue Mondays. Ask him if he knows Richard Martin.
Yeah.
And then we'll...
Oh dear. Then we'll roast you.
Cool. So
Live radio.
usually at this point of the show we do a roulette wheel to decide which franchise we're doing next, but we're not doing that this time because we're watching X-Men. Stop it! This is madness.
This is Sparta.
Yeah, we're doing X-Men to Time with Logan.
Which, if you've been listening to the podcast, you'll know I'm quite excited for.
Yes, I've never seen any of the X-Men movies really. So.
I've seen a couple.
Really?
I've seen.
I mean, I can't talk. I'm just surprised that you haven't.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for coming on the show, Annabelle.
It's okay.
Thanks,
Anytime.
Annabel, David.
Anytime.
When I'm here.
Right. Cool. Okay. Thank you for listening, everybody. Thank you very much. This has been great. Go watch Happy Feet 2. Why are your feet tapping like that?
Warmest feet in the world.
They're happy, huh? That was cute. I love it. Goodbye.
Bye.